Some nights, you just know trouble's brewing before you even open your eyes. That's how it felt when Henry's hand brushed my plate as he leaned across the table. Way too close, acting like he'd already claimed something that belonged to me. "Let's keep this easy, pal," he said, his grin so smug it practically begged to be wiped off. "Walk away quiet, or step up like you've got some backbone." My fork froze, a chunk of dry, half-cold chicken dangling like a bad prop in a play I never signed up for. Charlotte, my darling wife, sat between us, her eyes glued to her wine. Red as her lipstick, red as the betrayal knotting my gut. He'd laid out 2 choices. I had a third up my sleeve. I set my fork down real slow, dabbed my mouth with the napkin like I cared about looking civilized, and locked eyes with him. "You want your pearly whites intact or scattered like confetti?" I asked, voice low and steady. The next thing you know, porcelain's smashing, bones are crunching, and the room's so quiet you could hear a pin drop. But let's hit rewind before Henry's blood spiced up the mashed potatoes, before Charlotte's silence screamed louder than words. This whole mess kicked off 3 weeks back, around 1:22 a.m., when her phone buzzed on the nightstand. Charlotte was out cold, probably dreaming of whoever's cologne was still clinging to her skin. I glanced at the screen just a peek and saw a message that burned itself into my brain. "Tonight was unreal, babe. Can't get your lips out of my head." I didn't touch her phone, didn't shake her awake, didn't bother with questions. Questions are for suckers who think they'll get straight answers. I memorized the number and let her sleep, her secret safe for one more night. Next morning she kissed me, all sweet and oblivious, but I could taste the lie on her breath. I smiled back, calm as a summer breeze, while something inside me went still, like a predator sizing up its prey. 3 days later I had the number traced. Easy enough if you know the right people. His name was Henry, a gym rat turned entrepreneur, the kind of guy who posts motivational garbage on Instagram and thinks it makes him profound. 6'2", built like a billboard for protein shakes, and apparently Charlotte's new obsession. I didn't rush to confront them. Nah, I played the long game, watching like a hawk. I tailed them one evening, keeping my distance. He scooped her up 2 blocks from her yoga studio, his SUV's tinted windows not quite dark enough to hide her giggle from the passenger seat. That laugh, too polished, too familiar, hit me like a sucker punch. She looked younger with him, almost like the girl I married, but I knew better than to buy the act. I started keeping tabs. Timestamps, locations, receipts. She fed me some sob story about her mom being sick, but she was really shacked up at his condo, Unit 711, with a view of the city like they were Bonnie and Clyde. She'd claim she was exhausted and crash early, so I got creative. Slipped a keylogger on her laptop, pulled her call logs. I didn't ask for the truth. I hunted it down. Charlotte, meanwhile, was getting cockier, tossing sass like it was her job. "Oh, honey, you're so busy with work," she'd say, rolling her eyes over breakfast. "Must be exhausting, carrying the whole world on those scrawny shoulders." Her smirk was sharper than a steak knife, and every word dripped with that "I'm untouchable" vibe. I just nodded, letting her think she was winning, while I pieced together her double life. The real kicker landed in a manila envelope delivered to my office. Inside were printouts, texts, photos, her gushing to Henry about stuff she'd never said to me, not even back when we were crazy about each other. "You're so in charge it's hot," she wrote. "He's such a pushover, you're the real deal. He'd crumble in a heartbeat. And then, I'll ditch him soon, he's too spineless to fight back." My pulse didn't even spike. I slid the folder into my briefcase, booked a table at a restaurant. Public enough to keep things civil, private enough for me to savor the moment, and invited them both. At dinner, I slipped the envelope to Charlotte under the table. Her face went ghost white, but she didn't dare open it. She knew what was inside. That's when Henry, clueless as a frat boy at a poetry slam, leaned in with his 2-option deal, leave or square up. I countered with my third, and before he could blink, his face was kissing the table. The crack of porcelain and bone echoed, and the restaurant froze like someone hit pause on a movie. I stood, buttoning my jacket, cool as a cucumber, while Henry groaned on the floor, blood and mashed potatoes smeared across his jaw. Charlotte, predictably, rushed to her night in shining gym shorts. "Oh my gosh, Henry baby, are you okay?" she wailed, shooting me a glare like I'd just kicked her puppy. Real mature loser, she spat, her voice all venom and fake concern. What, you think this makes you a big man? I leaned in close, just for her ears, and dropped the bomb. That folder. It's got everything, including the NDA Henry signed at the gym. You know, the one I own a stake in. Her eyes went wide, like a deer in headlights. Didn't know, did ya? I whispered. His contract says no messing around with clients' spouses. He's toast. And you. Good luck, sweetheart. The house, the car, the bank accounts, all in my name. You're starting fresh with zilch. She didn't say a word. Henry mumbled something pathetic, curled up like a wounded animal. I straightened my cufflinks and strolled out, the night air hitting my face like a cold, clean slap. It wasn't peace, not joy, just a quiet I'd earned, sharp and satisfying. Revenge. Nah, I didn't need it. I needed clarity, and I got it in spades. Charlotte made her bed. Henry made his move, and I made mine. Now they've got each other. Two losers picking up the pieces of the mess I left behind. Me. I walked away clean, my steps light, my conscience clear, ready for whatever comes next.